Hey guys, well, we made it through our big sun black moon opposition that we had yesterday. Things definitely seem to be shifting energetically in terms of at least the symbolism that is in place today and being discharged by the degrees of the planets. Big news today is really this ongoing square, this big, powerful square in the sky right now between Mars and Scorpio, Jupiter and Aquarius. This square began its exact activation yesterday and is continuing that exact activation throughout the course of the day today. So this is a really big and powerful energetic that we have going on, and that is going to carry us through into tomorrow, where Mars will come to 28 degrees of Scorpio and reactivate the degree of our last full moon in Taurus and Scorpio, which was also a solar eclipse. We could definitely be seeing some fireworks coming up tomorrow, but today the focus is definitely this square that we have going on between Jupiter and Mars. I'm going to talk all about it. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today is Wednesday, December 8th, 2021. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological outlook of the day. So I hope everyone is doing okay following what potentially was a very triggering day yesterday with all of that black moon energy going on. It's possible that it was kind of just a more difficult day where we were sort of dealing with some issues potentially that have been plaguing us for a while and really sort of cracking through the root cause or problem of them so that we can gain this awareness, begin to heal and integrate these issues, and really free ourselves from the mental constraints of the past based on our subconscious programming and these shadow side issues. That really is what the energy was all about yesterday. And again, it's carrying through this week. We still are in a close conjunction from the sun to the black moon, although it's no longer exact. And we are in a lunar cycle right now that had the new moon in an opposition to the black moon and Mercury in an exact opposition to the black moon. So this is energy that we are just working with and dealing with all month, but the climax of it has now passed, and it is interesting. I'm honestly cracking up looking at the energetics today, you guys. The Sabian symbols of a few of the planets today following these black moon energetics yesterday, because they're really talking about a whole new rebirth and a shift and change in perspective, and finally being prepared to enter a new phase of life and reality. And it's just very ironic. I'll read you these degrees in a minute, but it's just very ironic in the context of the energy that we had yesterday that these planets would be telling this story today. So without further ado, let's jump in and start talking about some planet placement, some Sabian symbols that we have in effect, and then I will talk about this big square between Mars and Jupiter we have going on today and the other energetics that are happening on the peripherals of this. So first and foremost, let's talk about, like I said, the degree placement of planets and Sabian symbols. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. For those of you who are back again, thank you so much for coming back to hang out with me, talk about the astrology. But what the Sabian symbols are, they're a group of energetics, a group of symbols that describe each and every one of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. Whenever there's a planet at a specific point making an aspect, discharging a degree, we can look to that specific degree, read the Sabian symbol, and it just gives us more clarity, more information, so that we can gain a greater understanding of what that particular planet at that degree is trying to accomplish in the context of this grand unfolding astrological story that is constantly carrying us through time and space. So whenever I'm analyzing astrological energetics, I always also like to look at the Sabians, because they really just give us an extra layer of clarity in terms of understanding the context of all of this going on. So that being said, let's talk about some of the Sabians in effect for today. Now, like I said, we had this big sun black moon opposition yesterday that was really trying to get us to gain a conscious awareness of our shadow side issues, these subliminal, very powerful subconscious programs that really are significant driving forces, motivating factors in our relationships and our experiences and our attitudes, our perceptions, and the experiences we draw into our life. Universe is really trying to crack us out of that yesterday, really taking us down into our own darkness and our own underworld so that we could see and perceive and gain a conscious awareness of these things, so that we can figure out what needs to be done to heal and release ourselves from these constraints, okay? And then today we have the sun, 17 degrees of Sagittarius. This Sabian symbol is an Easter sunrise service. So it's a whole new rebirth. It's a whole new awakening. in Easter sunrise service, we are celebrating today the return of the sun, right? Very interesting considering yesterday we had the sun in an opposition with the black moon, really taking us into our own underworld and looking into our own darkness and our own shadows. Well, today is the rebirth of the sun, the rebirth of the light back into, its glory in our realm. So very interesting. We're definitely coming out of the darkness today. We are in a rebirth process to reconnect with the light and the sun that we hold inside of us and, externally as well. The degree of the earth today, 17 degrees of Gemini, always in a polar opposition to the sun, is the head of a robust youth changes into that of a mature thinker. So again, to me, this is just such a rock solid reference to what we had going on yesterday. Remember, the black moon is in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, which rules our mind and our thoughts and our perception. And this specific degree, the head of a robust youth, changes into that of a mature thinker. Very, very mercurial degree symbolically being discharged by the earth today. And remember, the entire purpose of that energy that we had yesterday, and especially in the context of Mercury having been in exact opposition to the black moon for this new moon cycle, and then we had the opposition from the sun to the black moon yesterday, while Mercury, ruler of Gemini, where the black moon is, was also in an exact trine to the Eris point, which is the point in the sky that represents the ultimate and the break the chains on anything that binds us, energy and frequency. So very, very interesting, because yesterday all the energy was pushing us to some type of mental breakthrough into conscious awareness of what had really been controlling our minds and our experiences and our reality, and essentially cracking the code of our own faulty programming that was keeping us out of the truth of our internal value and the power that represents for us to really co-create with universe, instead of being subconsciously operating according to some type of program that has been put in place throughout the course of our lives, through our experiences, that we are very unconscious has been going on. And then we have the earth today, which is the state of things on the ground. That's always how I look at the position of things in regards to where the earth is placed. Talking about the head of a robust youth changes into that of a mature thinker. Definitely this shift in mental perspective, mindset, and maturing, and shifting our perspective into a more mature way of viewing things, wisdom gained through experience, and this process that universe was pushing us towards yesterday of really, breaking through into this conscious awareness of the truth of our own mental programming and how that has been operating underneath the surface of things. So the sun talking about a rebirth, a return of the light as we move out of this black moon energy, and the earth itself talking about this mental shift, this mental change, this maturation, this evolution in thought and perspective going on. Definitely the energy that was in place yesterday seems to be being indicated today as having caused some type of major mental shift and rebirth back into the light, which essentially was the purpose of that activation. Now, I want to read you the degree of Mercury as well, because remember, Mercury is a very fundamental part of this energy that we had going on yesterday, being the ruler of Gemini, where the black moon is located, and also having been in the trine to the Eris point yesterday, and also having been in the exact opposition for the new moon that we just had last weekend. Mercury today is at a group of immigrants fulfilling the requirements for entry into a new country. And I'm sorry, I can't help perceive that as any way other than humanity having fulfilled the requirements to go through this energetic shift and transition that allows for entrance into this new paradigm. That's really how I'm reading this energetic in the context of everything else that has been transpiring, and especially considering it's literally Mercury, which is the mind, which has been what has been under construction through this process. And now it's literally just charging a degree, talking about a group of people having fulfilled the requirements for entry into a new country. Maybe it's a group of people having fulfilled the requirements of shifting vibrationally enough to enter this new paradigm. I just find it to be, it just gave me a little chuckle this morning when I looked at the first three energetics when I was writing the Sabian, or the first three planets when I was writing the Sabian symbols, the Sun, Earth, and Mercury, I was like, wow, okay, well, that is literally specifically seems to be referencing what happened yesterday and saying that it was a success. So no matter how difficult it may have been navigating yesterday, the outcome appears to be successful, and we appear to be gaining entry into our new paradigm by fulfilling the frequency requirements that we needed to by facing our shadow, becoming aware, and like breaking our own programming, essentially, is how I was reading and am reading these energetics. So just very interesting. And I wanted to be sure to note that first and let you guys know, it seems like the process has been a success. It seems like the shift has happened and the mind of a robust youth has changed into that of a mature thinker, which would have been that process that we were going through yesterday, manifest, and the tangible outcomes on display. So very interesting. Now that I have that out of the way, let's move on and talk about this square that we have going on between Mars and Jupiter. Okay, this is a very big energy. We currently have Mars in Scorpio. We have Jupiter in Aquarius, both at 27 degrees of their sign. These are fixed signs, so that means that they are in square to each other. This energy has been building for a few days now. And like I said, the exact aspect began yesterday. The exact to the minute square happened overnight, but today we are still living this energy. And then tomorrow, Mars will move to the next degree, which actually is the degree where the full moon, the last full moon in Taurus and Scorpio, and the lunar eclipse that we had happened. And like I said, fireworks could definitely be coming with that tomorrow. But for today, we are still in this Jupiter-Mars exact square energy. And this really is pushing for big change based on authentic truth and deep transformation, awakening our psyche and tapping into the collective consciousness, something else that we could see, perceive, experience with this aspect in effect. This is also about, it's Jupiter in Aquarius. Jupiter rules truth. Jupiter in Aquarius is about like authentic truth and being liberated to truly experience that. And this square is all about the truth and the fight to discover what's really been going on in our lives so that we can heal root issues and align with our authentic truth. And with the specific degrees in place, 27 Aquarius and 27 Scorpio, which I will discuss in a moment. Disturbing the peace is something that I'm seeing coming through this square, and also like wisdom gained through experience on display in some type of a way, potentially some type of a spectacle of truth we may see with this as well. Now, 27 degrees of Scorpio, where Mars is today. This degree is a military band marches noisily on through the city streets. This is something on display, something causing a ruckus, something sort of causing a scene or like disturbing the peace in some type of a way, but for some type of good reason. Lots of energy, lots of movement, lots of enthusiasm and purpose behind it. And then we have Jupiter 27 degrees of Aquarius, and that Sabian symbol is an ancient pottery bowl filled with violets. And to me, this degree is things sort of about like things from the ancient past being repurposed now, or something about, something like making it through the test of time and still being available and still being functional and still being able to be used now. But when I think about, these degrees together, it just definitely makes me think of something disturbing the peace, because it's like Jupiter at this degree about an ancient pottery bowl filled with violets. Like this is a very like serene and like peaceful image if you think about it, like very serene and beautiful and just like peaceful image, like glorifying the like ancient past and things that have come down. And then Mars, a military band marching noisily through the street, like this definitely cuts through that serene, peaceful vibration and, introduces some type of spectacle or some type of display or some type of distraction, or, makes you look. So when we put these two things together, it just really like disturbing the peace of something in some type of a way. It makes me think of that. And also, like I said, some type of wisdom on display or some type of truth on display and a big scene made about it in some type of a way. Or, yeah, something about like wisdom gained through experience being a disruptive force potentially, or just a lot of noise being made about it in some type of a way. And that wouldn't really be surprising, honestly, with the planets involved and the signs involved as well. Because if you think about it, I mean, Mars, this is the planet of like taking action and initiative and motivation and conflict and willpower and courage and strength and passion. And in Scorpio, this has to do with like putting action towards root issues, root causes. How do you regenerate and heal? How do you put your energy and your willpower and your motivation into like solving, regenerating, healing root issues? And then Jupiter in Aquarius, like I've been saying, this is all about like a very expanded ability to have the freedom to align with authentic truth. And so when you put these two planets together in the square, it's like there's like this willful, passionate desire to take some type of action that truly rectifies root issues and causes like this transformation and this regeneration. And it's for the purpose, with the other planet being Jupiter in Aquarius, of this expanded freedom to align with authentic truth that is like in alignment also with the future course of things and what is genuinely in the best interest of the greater whole and the greater good. And with it being the square, it's like there may just be some type of interference or resistance or blockage or just like struggle or like feeling like held back or frustrated in some type of a way from being able to carry out the actions that we know will lead to this ultimate liberation into authentic truth. So that might be something that you find yourself dealing with today, maybe like really knowing what you need to do to rectify a situation, but for some reason, like facing some resistance or some conflict or some struggle in executing that based on either other people's truths or some type of societal structure, Aquarius, that may be interfering, or just generally conflict arising as a result as well of trying to go through this process of taking action to rectify some deep root issue and transform into something that is free to align with authentic truth. That could also be creating conflict in some type of a way with these energetics in effect as well. So that's really how I'm seeing, you know, on a more individual level, how this energy, how this square could potentially be affecting and operating. And on a collective level, you know, it's just more of the same. Like this actually is also Great Awakening energy, because we have like the energy and we are looking like penetrating deeply into things, trying to get to the root issues, to solve the root problems, and whatever resistance might be coming from either a collective whole or a societal structure or something that is preventing us from going through that process to align with the authentic truth and be free to experience that. Or like I said, creating some type of conflict for us or in our lives as a result of trying to go through this process of discovering root core issues, actually addressing them, and trying to bring some freedom and clarity to be authentic about the situation, could be creating problems, struggles, conflict as well. So that and yeah, you know, with the black moon still in such a close conjunction and us being in this cycle and everything that's been going on with Mercury as well, we still may be having a lot of conflict, especially in interpersonal relationship dynamics. And that brings me to the next thing that I want to talk about today, which is this conjunction that we have going on between Venus and Pluto. Now, this is only a 1 degree. Venus has moved to 25 degrees of Capricorn, and Pluto's at 26 degrees of Capricorn right now. So this is currently a 1 degree orb conjunction. It is not exact yet. We're moving into that. I believe it's on Friday. Yeah, Friday's the first day when Venus will come into the exact conjunction with Pluto. But we are only 1 degree off of this conjunction, and this energy is like very, very relevant right now. And this is a very strong energetic that we have going on, that we've had going on the side of things the past few days building up to this weekend. And it's actually going to be carrying us through the next 3 months as well. We're going to be dealing to some extent with these Venus Pluto themes. But this dynamic is just heating up on the side of things. And this has to do, today, tomorrow, Friday, all week, especially heading into the weekend. This is going to be putting a highlight on toxic relationships and where we are or allow ourselves to be enslaved to or at the mercy of like love and money in order to feel like safe and secure. Why and where we surrender our power and value for safety, security, finances, love. All of these subjects, all of these type of things coming up. With Venus and Pluto at this point in time, this is really going to be addressing a lot of toxic relationship dynamics, addictions, things that we are like tied to, again, mostly because of these subconscious programming issues that we've been working to rectify this week that really keep us out of our power and keep us attached to needing something external in order to feel safe and secure and like loved within ourselves. So this dynamic is really going to be prominent this week, next week, heading into this weekend. So, and I will talk much more about it, and I've been talking about it. I'm not going to get too much into it today, but themes of toxic relationship dynamics, partnerships, financial situations, anywhere where there's been an abuse of power going on based on love or money, essentially, or, that like vampiric energy of sort of like, or like dynamic of sort of like feeding off of someone else's energy and then like, using it to manipulate them in some type of a way. Like any of these toxic dynamics are really going to be brought up to be cleared, released, and transcended over the next 3 months. But this, like I said, this energy is really kicking off now. So we also have that going on. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about today is the positioning of our lovely moon. We have our moon in Aquarius today, and that means mid Aquarius, and that means that overnight last night, Uranus, or the moon in Aquarius, made a square to Uranus in Taurus. So we may be starting this day with some very shocking or surprising or like explosive or impulsive changes that happen or things that come up, conversations, just shocks or surprises, upheavals, a little bit of chaos here and there, very indicated when we have the moon squaring Uranus as we did last night, and the energy is still relevant, as we start our day today. And also though, with the moon in Aquarius, this is also activating Jupiter in Aquarius and square to Mars in Scorpio. Even though the moon today is not an exact conjunction to Jupiter, this is still activating this energetic. Now, tomorrow, the moon will move and will line up with Jupiter and make the square to Mars, and that will be really, really emphasizing and activating this ongoing square as well tomorrow, even though it's going to start moving apart. So the moon is going to reactivate this energy for us tomorrow, but by sign placement today, it really is still activating Jupiter and square to Mars, and this is energizing the square even more. With the moon, it's just, the moon is like a trigger planet. When the moon is in a sign activating in a transit that's going on, it really just sort of supercharges it and sort of ties our emotions into it as well. So we could also see some very, very big, overblown emotional displays today. I would not be surprised by that at all, especially coming out of all this black moon energy with the square in effect and with Venus in the conjunction to Pluto. So all of that, and then like I said, also the moon having made the square to Uranus last night. Remember, Uranus is in Taurus right now. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is in the conjunction with Pluto. So definitely, possibly big shakeups, disruptions, disturbing the peace in relationships, partnerships, finances, likely with this as well. So that really is pretty much what we have going on for the energy today. This very interesting symbolism talking about this rebirth of the sun and this shift in mental perspective, this mental evolution, this mental maturation, and having fulfilled the requirements to enter a new realm. So take that how it makes sense for you, but it seems to be pretty specific in the way that I'm reading it in terms of these energetics. Also, this square going on in effect, big overblown emotions. conflicts, explosive behavior potentially, but it's really all for the purpose of aligning with authentic truth. And any resistance or conflict that comes as a result of that is kind of to be expected under these energetics. Especially also with the moon in Aquarius, like energizing and activating this and having made the square to Uranus and Venus and Pluto in the conjunction. So could be a little bit of an unstable day for relationships, partnerships, finances, stuff like that. So yes, that is what I have for the astrological energetics today. And like I said, tomorrow is potentially going to be another very big day because Mars is going to move to 28 degrees of Scorpio tomorrow and reactivate the degree where the full moon lunar eclipse was a couple weeks ago. And we could definitely get some sparks or fireworks flying with this. Things that happened or started to happen a couple weeks ago on that full moon lunar eclipse may come back up now in some type of potentially big and explosive way. So that being said, now let's talk about the tarot cards for this morning. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Spirit, please give me some cards to clarify the collective energy of what's going on today. Well, I got 3 cards that came out. And first, honestly, I was like struggling to understand them. And then I looked at the back of the deck and suddenly it all made sense. So I'm going to tell you what all 4 of the cards are, and then I'm going to give you my interpretation. So the first card that came out when I was shuffling this morning, asking Spirit to clarify the collective energy, what's going on today, was the 8 of Wands. This is a card about forward movement. This is a card about things sort of like moving quickly and steadfast in one direction. And then the next card that came out was the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. Now, this card is about like diligently working hard on something, but when it's in reverse, this is about not really working hard on something. And then the third card that came out was the Hierophant. This is the holy man. This is the connection to the Holy Spirit, to the higher realms, to, you know, like our divine connection, the Hierophant, the connection to God. And then on the back of the deck, we had the Strength card in reverse. So I'm thinking like, oh, okay. Now that I see them all together, I understand what this is saying. And so when I'm reading all 4 of these cards, the message actually was pretty clear. It's like things in motion currently, the 8 of Wands, things in motion currently, or efforts of any kind that work against, that don't put the work in, that work against God or a higher power or universe right now are not being supported. They don't have the strength coming through. And I find that to be very ironic, especially considering all of this black moon energy and this shift in this transition that we're in right now, in this collective universal attempt to crack our programming and to realign with our authentic truth, activate our potential, activate our destiny, and co-create in conjunction with God and universe to really begin working with God to create the reality that we want for our lives, instead of being subliminally controlled by a shadow dimension of ourselves that we're not even, a shadow algorithm essentially, that we're not even aware of, like having been in existence. So very ironic. Actions against God or higher power are without strength and endurance at this time. The only thing supported is moving forward in a way that is working with the higher power and universe. And again, just the way that these cards came out, it makes so much sense. Things in motion or efforts of any kind that are not working with the Hierophant, the holy man, God, universe, divine connection, higher power, have no strength, have no endurance, have nothing behind them at this point in time. So I feel like that is a very clear message for us to continue to align with our authentic truth and go through this shift and make the changes that need to happen in our external world so that we can align with that authentic truth and begin to truly co-create with God, not against, with. So very interesting energy and symbolism coming through in terms of the tarot and the collective message that I guess needed to be told by me today. I don't know. Okay, so let me pull a synchronicity card now. I have just another minute before my camera shuts off. These synchronicity cards, this is a message from God that is just meant to give us a little bit of motivation or inspiration to help us through whatever we're navigating today. Whenever you're watching this video, even if it's not the day that I'm doing this report, it's just something that we need to hear in whatever moment that we're hearing this right now. And let's see what comes out, what we get. Oh, okay. Forget the past. It says forget the past. Remember yet not the former things, Isaiah 43:18. Walk in love, Ephesians 5:2. Strive for goodwill to all men, exhibit good spirit, and salute God in all those you meet. Forget the past is dead, nothing matters but this moment. Change your present thoughts and keep them changed, and you will change your destiny. And this is really what we're doing, and this is what we were doing yesterday. We were cracking our codes so that we can be freed from the patterns of the past that have been keeping us in a place that has prevented us from aligning with the truth of our authentic internal value, tapping into our personal creative potential, aligning with our authentic truth, and living a life externally that reflects those things internally so that we can really go through this process of co-creating with God, co-creating with universe, and giving back to the greater good all that we hold inside of us so that then that can be reflected back to us and we can experience true abundance and fulfillment externally as well. And this is a shift into the age of Aquarius. And again, very, very relevant, very, very on point message coming from God about how we can do this and what we need to keep in mind as we're going through this process. The past is dead. Nothing matters but this moment. Change your present thoughts and keep them changed, and you will change your destiny. And that really is what we are all in the process of doing right now, changing our destiny through cracking our own codes and changing the way that our minds operate. And Mercury today talking about having fulfilled the requirements to enter into the new country, the new world, the new age. So there you go, guys. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think they would be interested. Leave me comments, you guys. I really, really, really love your comments. I have a Facebook page and a Facebook group as well if you're interested in that. And definitely, you might want to come back with me tomorrow, you guys, because like I said, we have Mars coming to 28 degrees of Scorpio, reactivating that eclipse degree, reactivating the full moon. And we got to look at the other energetics that are going on the side of it. But yeah, tomorrow could be a pretty heated day. So keep that in mind. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Bye, guys.